is not standing here anymore.
Oh, is he here?
Yes. Alongside with all the church and the abbey, all that was here. Unfortunately, about 10 years after the French Revolution, it was just not used anymore, and so it became a stone quarry. But what you need to know, and that's very good, is to be the underground chapel and crypt that would have belonged to the Benedictine monks who were here from the 13th century to the 18th century, making first wine and then later, of course, champagne. I'm going to guide you. And we will go just here. This is all new, of course. Yes, but downstairs nothing is new. So I'll bring you to the video room. Is everything okay for stairs? Everybody, yeah? Very good.
So only outside is new.
Yes, but the building, everything that's above ground is new, but anything that's underground has not, of course, been changed. Nice and old, lots of history.
우와.
Lovely.
오, 막 진짜 신발들이랑.
The téting져의 style is revealed in the soul of its creations. The sense of beauty and imagination is instilled in each of our cuvées. Our history is deeply ancestral and exalts our know-how for excellence. It is redesigned each year with our constant impulse toward finding new ranges of flavors, perfumes, colors, and thus the emotions we will share.
Because you are here, the France. And then you're going to Epernay. This is where Epernay is, okay? The whole region covers 34,000 hectares, and we have 5 little regions where the villages are and where the grapes grow. You have the mountain of Reims, mainly planted in Pinot Noir, one of the dark grapes with white juice, normally a lot of character, a lot of structure. But it depends on the soil that the Pinot grows in, that you can also have a Pinot Noir very elegant. Right? Then you have here the valley, not the Valley of Nothing, yes, the Valley of the Marne. This is Meunier. It's the other dark grape with white juice, but this time all the fruitiness and all the roundness will come through. And then, of course, we have south of Epernay, the Côte des Blancs. This is Chardonnay, chalky soil. And then we have here the Côte de Sézanne, also Chardonnay. And right down here, we have yet again the Côte des Bars, Pinot Noir.
피노 노아.
Now, within all this, we have 319 villages, and they shall be, because they are all differently exposed to the sun, and because they are all in different soil and subsoil, they shall be divided into 3 families. You have the Grand Cru villages, 17. This is where they would be, south of the mountain of Reims and in the Côte des Blancs, because that's where all the chalky soil is. That's what gives to your lovely grapes a beautiful minerality, okay? And then you have 44 Premier Cru, and everything else is cru. But they're all important because champagne is always a blend, but a blend of villages, grapes, years sometimes, but the soil above all. That's what's going to make a difference from one house to the other, okay? And then, of course, we need to remind you that we're very lucky. We own 288 hectares. This is thanks to the second generation. That covers 40% of the needs, which is brilliant. We need to obviously buy in for 60%, and if we buy in, well, we'll have all these different certifications just to prove that we do care for our vineyard and that we will do a great deal of biodiversity, that we'll recycle the water, that we plant the little hedges and make the stone walls to have the wildlife come back into the vineyards, and all many other things that result that the house has been following a setup which is called RSE since now quite a few years. All right? And then, of course, just to forget not this is important, this is where you are today. 4 kilometers of underground tunnel, 2 million bottles.
2 million
it's
bottle.
Mainly Comte de Champagne, which is of course your third champagne that you will taste with us, the very highest quality of the house. But we also have big sizes, and that would be then Brut Reserve mainly, in another shape, we'll show you downstairs. And everything here is manually turned, manually stacked, everything's done by hand. We have also a cellar in town, 10 kilometer, 25 million bottles. It's all automated though, so all the machines are working. The wine house, of course, and then you have all the different areas for receptions. And you have one area very important, it's the house where Vitaly Tétangé, our president, has created a new foundation called Ars Nova, where she wants to really make it accessible for everybody, the culture, the gastronomy, and all different types of culture. Opera, as you saw, paintings, restoration, all sorts of things, okay? And then we have here all the different buildings. Some are for the press houses, others are for the material we need when we do the harvest. So there. Now I'm going to bring you downstairs. Are we all good?
Yes.
Now, first of all, let's situate you. We are 12 meters deep. It is 12 degrees here. It's perfectly natural temperature all year round, and we have between 80 and 90% humidity. And this is all because of the chalk, this stone here. Okay? In the vineyards, that stone is just as important as it will be a natural regulator for the roots of our vines when it comes to humidity. Talking about humidity, you will notice it's quite cold but quite humid downstairs, so it's being wetter downstairs. Let me now begin with yet again reminding you that the Benedictine monks did use part of this cellar. They also had interesting visitors. You had Peter the Great that came to visit in 1717, as the wines of these monks were outstandingly good. And you also can see the shape of the bottle now. It is a different shape than the regular shape you're used to. And this is because in the 30s, the family actually found some very old bottles. And with the local glass company, were able to retrace the original shape. And that is when they decided that with Comte de Champagne, the prestige of our house, will have that exceptional shape. Everything else will have the regular shape. You'll see in a minute. Grand chapel.
Is it?
Have a look.
Wow, is it 01?
Yes, very good.
진짜 볼 때마다 그래.
Now this is the underground chapel that would have been used by the Benedictine monks, and the stairs used to bring you back into the abbey, into what we call the sacristy of Thibaut IV, who was Count of Champagne, King of Navarre, but also related to the Tétangé family, meaning that the fact that Thibaut had brought back initially the ancestor of the Chardonnay from Cyprus to the Champagne region, it is of course one of the main reasons why the house also is so fond of the Chardonnay grape, as it is our signature grape. We will use the Chardonnay as 100% for the Comte Blanc de Blanc,
Blanc de Blanc, yeah.
but we will have a lot of Chardonnay in practically all our champagnes. Shelter for the French, for the Reims population during the First World War, and so we have actually here a universal symbol, the heart, and then RF République Française, and then of course 1914. So you see, it's not that cold, but it is in the winter time. It's actually nicer here than outside, and in the summertime as well. It's fresher here than outside. And that's all because of the chalk. It's a great, great stone. You can see all the sizes.
More about wow.
So there you have all the sizes. I don't know if you know the names.
I don't know.
I will give them to you. I'll just wait for you all. Don't forget, I'm allowed to lose 10% of the group. here you have what we call la fillette, which means the little
Fillette.
girl.
Mm.
Then you have the regular classical, which is called la champenoise, the girl from Champagne.
Ah.
And then we have the regular names. Magnum, you know.
Magnum, double
Jeroboam,
Magnum.
you've just seen. Methuselah, 6 litre. Salmanazar, 9. Balthazar, 12. And Nebuchadnezzar, 15. What's
15.
important always to remind you is that in this house, we actually do the aging of the champagne up to the Methuselah size.
Oh, okay.
Above Methuselah, though, we only prepare if somebody wishes a big size like that. And if it is, it would be filled up from a Jeroboam size. And what you need to know then, if you do order such a big bottle, you must drink it straight away. Because you lose a little bit of quality when you transfer the champagne that aged in the bottle
and then-
into a bottle where nothing happened. So you lose pressure and you lose a little bit of quality. Okay? So it's fine if it's just for the party, you drink it straight away, but don't think that you keep it for 2 or 3 years.
Not for aging.
Whereas champagne has a life ahead of it. If you have a good cellar, constant temperature, lying, so that the cork remains moist, and also, of course, no light.
Humidity, no light.
So for the vintages, you can keep them easy between 8, 10, 12, 15 years. And for non-vintage, we normally say between 3 and 5 years.
Oh, yes.
It does depend where you're keeping them, okay? Right. Bubble. And the bottle can, unfortunately, explode, okay? Why? I'll tell you afterwards. But you, and look how many bottles are here. Open up. Look at that. 129,456 are lying just in here.
Wow.
And think of it, it was all put here by hand. But the monks were actually digging out the stone. And
Wow.
look here, this is
Oh,
all
horse.
very, very authentic from the First World War.
Wow.
You need to know that we were a hospital, so the horse was the companion, and the horse would have brought the wounded. And that is why it would have been honored, because it was the horse that brought the wounded to the cellar.
Oh, wow.
We're coming to the last part of the 13th century cellar. And if you look above you, this is a beautiful Gothic cross.
Wow.
And it is what you need to know is that the Benedictine monks could actually from one church to another, and when they would then come here, they knew they were underneath their own abbey. I'm going to just explain the end of the process, and I want you to be able to have a look at the second door here with the pretty hammer. But the bottles close, the carbon dioxide stays. And this is how we get what we call la prise de mousse, which means the birth of the bubbles, the pressure, 6 bar per bottle, and at the end of the second alcoholic fermentation, which takes a little longer because it's cold here, it takes 2 months instead of 10 days, okay? And so at the end of the second alcoholic fermentation, we also have a sediment in here. The sediment is very important. It's the yeast having fed on all the sugar, and it is full of aroma. And the longer you leave it with this newborn champagne, the better your champagne will be. And that is why we say, if you can keep it for 3 years, 5, 6, 10 years, the aroma that is in the sediment will free itself and blend with the champagne, and you'll have lovely flavors. So it's a beauty sleep. And when this period of aging is done, we obviously want to drink it. And it into a lying position.
Flat.
In the beginning, you don't do anything. Why? Simply because you have mixed everything in the bottle because you've brought it across. So you have to be patient. You wait a few days. Then you mark the bottle. We will see that for the real ones. The mark is a reminder to know whether you go left or right, a quarter, a sixth, or an eighth. And why do you want to go left or right, a quarter, a sixth, or an eighth? It's because when you're doing the turning, what you are actually doing, you're helping the sediment to always keep together and to come slowly but surely down. I'm going to show you with the real bottle. Come with me. I have to go at the bottom.
아,
see?
Yes.
Okay?
와.
That sediment sometimes can be a little bit sort of spread out. And if it's a little bit spread out, that's why he would have to go left or right, a quarter or a sixth. It has to always be nicely together as it goes down, because all of it has to go down. So what's the movement? The movement is you lift, you twist, and you tilt. If it's not quite nicely together, it's you lift, you twist, left, right, quarter, sixth or eighth, and you tilt. And when he's turning, when it's a normal bottle, so it's 60 on each side, it's 2 hands at the same time, the first, the fourth, the second, the fifth, the third, and the sixth. And that is why, for instance here, he did not mark all of the bottles. The 2 in the middle is enough. He knows how he turned these. How long does this last? Mechanically, it'll last about 5 days.
5.
So you're going to say to me, why do you do it by hand still? Because transmission is a key word for the family. Pass on a know-how that otherwise shall be forgotten about.
So are you still doing by hands?
Yes.
Wow.
That's why they're here. So we have 2 people still doing by hand. It takes much longer. Tradition. It takes 6 to 8 weeks. He can still do 35 to 45,000 bottles a day, which is brilliant. And
No, I was just explaining.
oh, sorry, I thought you said sorry. And well, he doesn't come every day anymore. Now it's about every second day. But still, it is still done by hand. And when it's done, the bottle is totally upright and the sediment's totally at the bottom. And that is when we actually will take the extreme end of the bottle, dip it into a freezing solution, minus 25 degrees. It's called green ice.
Green ice.
And when it's frozen, we have frozen the sediment, a little bit of champagne. So I have to bring the bottle up straight. It's opened, and through the pressure, 6 bar, the ice block shoots out.
Oh, okay.
When it shoots out, you lose about half a bar pressure. You lose some champagne, of course. So you must give back what you have lost.
Tirage.
Same quality. That's the tirage.
Tirage.
There you go. And then we give in also, well, the tirage is actually, to be honest with you, this is a different type of tirage. The tirage, word tirage, is when we fill them up with the wine, with the sugar, with the yeast for the bottle fermentation. Okay.
For the,
Now this is going to be a moment where we have to do the bottling. So embouteillage, we're bottling to bring all the different, well, just to give back what we have lost. We put in also a little bit of sugar. You don't have to. If you don't want to put in the sugar, it's called nature. If you put in a tiny bit of sugar, it's called extra brut. And when you put in a normal amount of sugar, that's between 6 and 12, it's called brut. You will have 9 and 8 grams of sugar per liter with me today. And there are sweeter ones. Nocturne, 17 gram, which is sec, or demi-sec, 35 gram. And when
35.
all that's, it's quite sweet. When all that's done, final cork, wire cage, and then of course we're ready. But they still stay down here a few more months because if you put in sugar, you have to have it all mixed together.
아, okay.
And then, you see the sediment?
와. 오, 진짜.
Okay. So it still has a little bit to do. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. My light's going a little bit dead. There you go. So it still has a little bit of turning, so that it's completely in here. All right? Method of work. Let me bring you over here now.
Oh, more deeper.
Yes, and very damp now. You can feel it already coming. It's damp.
So it's 20 meters below the ground here.
We are 20 meters deep now. Yes.
와.
And the deepest, this is the oldest quarry. This one goes back to 340 of our time. It's written there in French. And then the beautiful ones are here. But they're very wet as well.
여기 사람 얼굴 새겨져 있어. There's like face.
Yes, you have lots of different carvings still. And I'll show you some more over there afterwards. You have also blocks. They will bring it through, they will shape it, dry it outside, and use it for building purposes. It's very much later, in the 18th and 19th century, that the future champagne houses adopted these, linked them together with underground tunnels, and turned them into cellars because they had this perfect condition to keep champagne.
So
You have perfect temperature. Yes, you see how this is very deep.
I
Yes.
mean, is the hole goes up to the ground
Yes,
level?
this goes up to the garden.
Wow.
It is
Wow.
all perfectly up there.
Okay.
So now this is what we call Gallo-Roman quarries, and this is what Pierre-Emmanuel had listed many years ago, well, in 2015, as a UNESCO heritage site.
Oh, okay.
And it's not just ours, but also he decided to include all our neighbors. So you have the